club members. Congratulations on leaving your meaningless lives behind to become pirates. Your life of boredom is at an end, thanks to Captain Cartman. All hands on deck.
And greetings, fellow listeners. This is the Long in the Boot podcast, the podcast coming to you from the heel of the boot of Southwest Louisiana. I am your host, G Long. Sitting across the way, as always, is Deb.
Hello. Hi, mateys.
Arrgh. That's right.
We've revealed the topic today.
All right. Yeah, we've revealed it right off the bat. By the way, if you want to get a hold of the Long in the Boot podcast, it's 337-502-9011. Notice I said that very slowly so you could write it down.
Ooh.
And the email is longandtheboot@gmail.com, because where would we be without Gmail? And
in Yahoo, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
Outlook,
somewhere.
somewhere else.
It would be somewhere. And the webpage that I'm terrible at updating is longandtheboot.com.
Yes, you are.
Well,
Slacker.
Here we are. Okay, so that's right. It's going to be a pirate episode.
It is. It is. Contraband. No.
Well, that's kind of what started this
That
whole
is
darn
what
thing.
started it. Okay. So
as many people in Southwest Louisiana know, and some people in other places, and I guess that has to be true, that Lake Charles used to have a festival called Contraband Days
for about 60 years.
Yeah, it was way up there. It had a long run.
It had a long run.
Contraband Days.
But as happens now.
And it happened, well, basically this weekend in May, or the first weekend of May generally. And occasionally it would fall right at the very end of April, but most of the time it's
yeah.
And it used to be a 2-week festival.
So they're still doing 2 weeks. Yeah, well, they are. They're trying. They have since changed the name though.
Yes, today it is known as the Louisiana Pirate Festival.
Yes, and that is going on right now. So we decided that talking about pirates and the lifestyle.
Sure. And Johnny Depp's been in the news.
And oh dear Lord, has he ever?
Poor Captain Sparrow.
Heard about Depp?
Yeah, he's in.
It has been a docudrama.
His marriage was Depp.
It's been laid bare.
Yeah.
Oof. Okay, we won't.
Anyway.
Yeah, y'all can go read about that yourselves, or not.
That's why I didn't even clip anything with Johnny Depp. It just makes me sad.
So you wouldn't even do a Pirates of the Caribbean clip?
Nope. We're not avoid that.
They would. Okay, that was too cliche. Our audience would have expected it.
Remember, the Pirates of the Caribbean ride also was changed. Pirates come with baggage.
Clearly they do, because the Contraband Days, the city of Lake Charles, and the people who handle all of that in 2017 officially changed the name. But the very first story I found was 2012, and there was some grumblings in the city about it.
Grumble.
Well, it was just starting to come up. Somebody looked up the word contraband and read an article and decided that contraband included slaves, and we don't want to be associated with that.
What kind of started it too, though, and this is kind of weird, but when I first came to Southwest Louisiana in the early 80s, the Contraband Days Festival was
when you were a mere Ute.
Yeah, it was pretty phenomenal. People pitched tents out on the grass around the Civic Center.
It was a good time.
It was a very good time.
It was a very good time.
Probably too good a time.
But no, memory's tricky like that too. You're also remembering your youth. It was fun.
Well, yeah, but
you were young.
but it was a different kind of thing.
It was a lot freer. It was a lot more with the pirate spirit.
Sure.
Yeah. But, just have fun. Bohemian.
But I remember when it started, when people started grumbling about the festival, the big one was a lot of people didn't like the association between the the skull
the
and
Jolly
bones,
Roger.
the Jolly Roger, and people were also putting the Confederate flag with it. It was a dual thing.
Cross culture.
Well, yeah, that was happening a lot at the. at the
my
seawall.
neighbor has has a cross.
Whatever, I don't care what you do, but there were people who were upset about it.
Yes.
And then
so
somebody
that got added to the contraband definition.
Right. And then somebody who looked up, like you said, the word contraband discovered that within contraband, which is basically anything that the pirates managed
any
to
booty,
acquire,
any loot,
any booty.
Oh, I like the way you said that.
Thank you. Also included human beings.
Yes.
And you might not be aware of this, but a long time ago, there was this thing called slavery where people were actually sold into slavery.
Well, some of the slave ships that actually got pirated, some of the slaves were released and became pirates themselves.
We'll get into that. Yeah. Anyway, so contraband became a word that many people suddenly decided.
Well, they just didn't want it associated with it. Here, I'm going to read the official statement from the board in 2017 when they did it, and they made the announcement on September 19th, Talk Like a Pirate Day, so that,
of course,
they had a little
Did
segue.
They read it as a pirate?
I doubt that. And I can't read it as a pirate either. So the board felt that this name change would be a true reflection of the shift that is taking place with the festival itself. We have incredible food, music, and artists in Louisiana, and everyone sees this as an opportunity to celebrate the best of who we are as a people and culture. Right on the shores of Lake Charles, the Louisiana Pirate Festival will bring a more statewide appeal. Moving past the 60th anniversary, it's time for something new and different. So we're taking the old pirate.
Well, they didn't actually even address.
We're cleaning up. No, they didn't. It was very vague and ambiguous. They didn't address it. I guess they figured they'd already been through all that. They had hashed it all out, and they just made here's our decision.
Here's the issue.
The captain made a choice, and here it is. So
the board has come to an agreement.
That's right. The brethren of the coast have made a decision.
So then we're going to admit that contraband was associated with slavery? No, we're not going to do that. We're just going to
We're just going to gloss past all.
We're going to call it a pirate.
Okay, it's time to move past. Anyway, so we did enjoy.
Well, wait, let's examine this English-wise. Okay, contraband included live human beings. So we name it the Pirate Festival. Let's see, what did pirates do?
Well, they broke the law, but many
pirated.
But many of them broke the law with a legal piece of paper.
True, but the point
they
is,
were given legal.
We didn't really do anything to fix the issue. We just simply we fixed the glitch.
By nature of the term pirate and what they do for a livelihood, we're already associated with crime. We're just not associating with this particular crime.
Even though they did
crime against humanity.
But they did that.
Yeah, that's history. That's not the same thing.
Doesn't count.
It's not the same thing.
Anyway.
All right. So what we did was we did go out and enjoy. We didn't go to the Pirate Festival. We went to the Art Walk, which is adjacent. Pirate Festival adjacent.
It's relatively unknown that pirates like a good art walk.
Pirates like to spend money. They like to
on liquor and whores
and women. Yeah. All right. See, now I'm already offended by your language.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Prostitutes.
Women making gainful employment.
Sex
yes,
workers.
they had gainful employment.
I'm sorry, sex workers.
Pirates served a real purpose. All right, so we enjoyed the art walk. We ran into a former student and maybe a community member. He's a listener.
He's not a pirate, though.
No, he's not a pirate. That is true. And so Mr. James and his wife, lovely wife, are at Painting with a Twist.
Painting with a Twist.
Yes.
And if you haven't done that, or if you haven't dragged your significant other
if you've got a reluctant artist.
Well, first of all, ladies,
yes.
If you want to talk your man into going to Painting with a Twist, just let them know that they can get drunk while they paint.
You can
I'm sorry.
Enjoy a beverage. You can imbibe on some grog while you paint.
Yeah, that's right.
We're trying to weave your pirate theme into your conversation.
Bring him some grog with some lime juice squeezed into it.
Well, and we've done that a couple times. I did have to drag you the first time, but
True.
You must admit, tell the audience,
I had fun.
You had fun, yes.
I didn't participate.
You got to use a blow dryer.
Yeah, but I didn't participate in any of the silly games because I'm not.
You didn't even do one?
No, I didn't.
I did at least one.
No.
I know. I'll always do that crap.
I got the.
I
got
just
the
don't
curmudgeon.
care.
Don't you remember? I got the curmudgeon apron.
Yeah. But I got you with the blow dryer, and you got to use the blow dryer despite your being follically challenged.
Yeah, I haven't used a blow dryer for anything hair related in a very long time.
but you got to do that. When I had my shoulder surgery, you used the blow dryer and helped me dry my hair.
That's true.
Because he's a good guy.
Well, look, any man who's not willing to play with his wife's hair is dudes, guys.
Okay. All right.
Wash their hair. God, trust me.
Don't digress down that path.
Sorry.
Okay.
Arrgh. There we go. Okay.
You cleanse the palate. All right. So, are we moving on to pirate lore, or is there some more?
Well, we can real quick just
since we're moving from painting with a twist.
The pirate festival, obviously, John Lafitte. Supposedly, just to start off, the reason that they came up with this idea was that John Lafitte supposedly buried some treasure in the area around Lake Charles, and particularly in the Bayou Contraband.
Yes.
So that's where that came from, actually, was the Bayou Contraband. It wasn't even named after the stuff.
Yes.
It was named for a bayou.
And then if you do your research, you come across, of course, the idea that that's mostly a myth, and they didn't really bury any treasure because they spent it.
That's right.
They spent it. Pirates provided a service, which was basically to move money around.
And
help the economy.
There are still people who look for his treasure, by the way.
Well, and
you know what? If he buried something in a bayou, it's about 40 feet down. Yeah,
you're not getting it.
You're not getting it.
You need heavy equipment. You need some dredging, and it's gonna be some time and investment in
they can't even decide on how to spell Lafitte's name. There's like 3 different.
They don't have any documentation of it, because a lot of the pirate stories we came across, obviously there's a lot of documentation.
But he did fight in the Battle of New Orleans. We know that.
Okay.
Because he was there. And it was reported.
People reported that.
Well,
they did write that down. He was
Andrew
another
Jackson
one of
and the people in New Orleans hired the pirates.
Isn't that a nice? As a man, you're a law-abiding citizen, and then circumstance drives you to be a lawbreaker, but then you are given legitimacy by the government.
Well, that's how it all started.
To break the law. Yeah, that's a cool.
Because there's actually, when you go start diving into piracy, it's kind of funny. It's divided up.
Yeah.
It's not just the age of piracy. You have the age of buccaneers.
Yeah, it lasted a very long time.
Speaking of which.
What?
Do you know where a pirate keeps his...
Oh, dear God. It's like being rickrolled with you.
Do you know where a pirate keeps his buccaneers?
I do.
Under his bucking hat. There, I got that out.
That is just not funny
I did
anymore.
the show just for that joke, people. Anyway.
Wow. Okay. Whew, I need a palate cleanser.
Arrgh.
I need Bella to bark. So I lost track.
Give me a tankard of grog.
of where we were. You were talking about Jean Lafitte.
Well,
we really weren't going to talk about him specifically.
No, I'm done with John Lafitte.
Okay. I didn't think you were going to do a background of him. We briefly spoke about what we were going to talk about.
He did invent yogurt. I made that up.
Good. My head went, no, the French. I think the French.
Pirates have been around for a long time.
They certainly have.
The history of piracy dates back more than 3,000 years.
Say what?
Yeah. Now, of course, it depends on what you mean by pirate.
What kind of pirate you're thinking?
But piracy.
What region?
The word pirate comes from, they think, the Latin pirato. Who knows if that's true? Anyway, they were already preying upon the Greeks, the Romans. The pirates were.
Well, anytime somebody's got to move booty, you're gonna have a place in the link that can be
in the Iliad and the Odyssey there are pirates.
Pirates, yeah.
The Vikings, really, we talk about the Danes and the Vikings, but they were technically pirates.
Yeah, they just came on land to get all their booty,
and pirates
then got back on their boats and sailed back home.
And in English, of course, it means sea thieves.
Sea thieves,
which I kind of like.
I like that too. The mystique of pirates has been with us for a very long time as well.
Right. Maybe it's the mystery of the sea.
It is. It is. We get most of our American knowledge, of course, though, from Hollywood and books. Treasure Island.
Primarily, as it turns out,
that most
the
of it's
number one way that people got their view of pirates. And I'm going to play a little bit of this clip of the Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island as brought to life by Walt Disney.
where I learned a lot of my history.
And actually, a lot of people took this as gospel.
Yeah.
Which is really weird. Now, Robert Louis Stevenson wrote it in the 1800s. He was still 170 years after the fact.
Oh, yeah.
And all of his stuff was made up as well. So really, it's not even Disney. It's Robert Louis Stevenson responsible.
It's his
because if you read Treasure Island, Long John Silver and the other pirates do talk like pirates.
Yes.
There's arghs and things like that. But I want you to listen to this just for a second because it's rather amusing. See if you can understand.
If you can follow it.
Just brig, you bunglers. They too and dispose of them remains. Lively now.
Bringing cutthroats under our very hatches.
Shiver me timbers, I'd like to squeeze Mendoza's squeezy cheesehead off his body. You informer. This council beat for purity's ears.
I, for one, say this is time to cut and rip.
Cut and rip, says you. And us maroon we out the ship like a row of hungry gulls. Not even a bumbo to our name.
Well, if I were captain, I'd lay a plan.
Argh.
1, ambush the first colonial trader what touches shore. 2, border in the dead of night. 3, head for the treasure.
And if you're too chicken-hearted for this, I say depose yourself.
Aye. Cough up the charts what point the way to the booty.
Whale's bile, that's what you be. How would you pass Mendoza at Broken Finger Point?
And that is exactly the way pirates talked.
Lies. Oh, lies!
Oh, jeez. You've been playing, I see. A whale's bile.
Actually, we don't really know how pirates talked. We assume they just talked like people.
Because of the circumstance that led many of them to be pirates, they were educated too. There were educated pirates who wrote and kept journals, and so we do have some.
So we'll talk about the golden age of piracy by just going to the background first. And the background had to do with war.
Mm-hmm.
It was war between the perennial favorites, England, Spain, the Netherlands, or the Dutch, and French.
And the unemployment.
Oh, and the occasional Portuguese. And they fought. They had wars. And everybody was fighting over the New World, the Caribbean especially, the east coast of the United States, South America. Spain claimed it all, every bit of it. And the English just weren't having that.
No.
And neither were the French or the Dutch or the occasional Portuguese.
We're gonna divide this pie up.
And so they didn't have a big enough navy to cover it. Nobody did. So the easiest thing to do was to hire people that had ships.
Yeah, freelance.
And
sailors.
Give them a contract. And that's really how it all came about. The Buccaneer era, before the pirate era, Buccaneers were legal.
Yeah.
They all carried.
So it was the legal pre-pirate job level.
Right. Every island had a governor for the most part, and the governors would issue letters of marque, which gave them permission to prey upon the enemy's shipping, whoever the enemy happened to be at a given time. And of course, they never really knew for sure if what they were doing was right, because the
letter of marque would have instructions on it. It would be like a list of instructions of what they were supposed to do, and what they were legally allowed to do.
Like if you were English and you were told you could raid Spanish ships, well, it might be one of those moments where Spain and England had a treaty, but you wouldn't know.
But you didn't know
for
it
at least a month.
Yeah, you didn't get that information.
Right, and it worked that way throughout this time period. And this is the 1600s, by the way.
Yeah.
From the late 1500s into the 1600s is the Buccaneer era. And then as we move into the 1700s, it starts becoming the pirate era.
Yeah. Well, and it was, how many men were I think it was 14,000 were laid off from the Navy. Right.
When the final one was the War of Spanish Succession, and it ended. And all of these people that had been paid by the crown by basically just stealing stuff from Spain.
Yeah.
And
well, they were their soldiers.
Well, they kept attacking
sailors.
They kept attacking the Spanish ships because the Spanish ships were bringing back gold and silver from Central and South America. And I mean, if you're gonna attack a ship, attack the one with money.
Yes, indeed.
And so they did. One of the greatest pirates, or excuse me, Buccaneers, was Sir Francis Drake.
Yes.
Now he's renowned in history. When I first heard of Francis Drake, the first thing I ever heard about him was he was the first Englishman to sail around the world. That's the first thing I ever heard of him.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out he was a privateer. He was also the hero of the Spanish Armada when the Spanish Armada tried to invade England. But he was given a letter of marque by Queen Victoria herself. Go out and raid those Spanish ships,
rob
young man.
those Spanish ships.
Get them. And he did. It turns out he had a real hatred for Spain too, which kind of helps because like his
well, it helps you do your job. You're motivated. You're far more motivated.
And he made a lot of his money early on in the slave trade, as most of these guys did, as it turns out. You sell your the slaves that you take off of the ships. And
that adds to what you can divvy up with your crew.
But he was a privateer for the British Crown. He never became a pirate.
Okay.
He was a Buccaneer.
He didn't cross that line.
He did not cross that. Well, because he kept getting paid. He stayed employed.
So he got his booty plus a paycheck.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's nice.
And he kept doing expeditions for Queen Elizabeth. Eventually, the last expedition was the bad one, and he got wounded, and he came down with a fever and dysentery, and did his dying thing off the coast of Panama at the age of 55.
55.
Yep.
Well, he lived a full pirate or buccaneer.
Buccaneer. Privateer.
Okay.
By the way, the Spanish never really considered English privateers to be anything but pirates, but they also had their own privateers. And often it was people working for the crown who weren't of that country. Like it wasn't unusual to have a French buccaneer working for an English governor or an English buccaneer working for a Dutch governor.
Because they were freelance. They went where the money was or where the job was. They didn't care.
As near as they can tell from history and letters of marque that they've actually found, most pirates carried a collection of letters of marque.
Sure.
And
why would you only have one?
Would fix them as needed.
Why would you only have one employer? Absolutely. Yes. So how are you going to move into the pirate era?
Well, the pirate era comes primarily because the place where all the pirates were hanging out.
Yes, because you have to have a location.
Right. Was a English port called Port Royal.
Okay.
And it's in Jamaica. And it was known as the Sodom of the 17th century. Yeah, baby. It was known as the wickedest city on earth.
Who's writing this?
A den of pirates, prostitutes, and slavers unlike any the world had ever known.
Oh, wow.
And in 1692, God smited it bigly.
Really?
Yeah, it was an earthquake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it actually had more. This is my favorite.
Is this part of the golden age?
This is when the age of buccaneers is transitioning into the age of piracy.
Yes. And privateers.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There were more brothels and bars in Port Royal than churches, by far.
Okay.
Thousands of prostitutes.
Well, but that increased along the shipping lanes anyway. I mean, all of the places where pirates went and spent all that money, because, again, they didn't bury their treasure. They spent it.
Well, originally it was surrounded.
All of those towns boomed.
Yeah, and there were nothing but Spanish ports around Port Royal. So it was English. The way that was shaped made it very defensible. They decided, so this English, when they took over the port, just basically invited a coalition of privateers, buccaneers, pirates, to protect the port. They were sort of in the name of the King of England. This was the king by then.
They didn't have a set down government, but they certainly had rules.
They did. They had rules, and Port Royal is the place where some of the big names from piracy first start getting a name. But again, when God decided to smite Port Royal, what he did, there was an earthquake in Port Royal. The entire port was built on sand. And when an earthquake happens on a volcanic island like that, what happens is liquefaction. The sand turns to quicksand. And basically, the entire end of the island just sunk into the sea.
Was it like 30-something miles?
Yeah, it was
a 35-mile section
it's
or something.
Crazy. It killed nearly, not everybody, but it came close.
Well, see, God, ye smiting ye.
They do have a few, like I found a picture, not that it does you any good on a podcast, but it's a picture of a building that survived the earthquake. In 1914, it was still operating as a bar.
Oh, wow. So that's the one business that sticks around. You know how hard it is to
was
get a bar to work?
7.5 magnitude earthquake.
Wow.
Hit at 11:43 a.m., June 7th, 1692. And you if you're wondering how I know it's 11:43, it's because the watch they found was stopped at that exact time.
Wow.
And
how symbolic.
Yeah, even Captain Morgan, one of the revered pirates of the age or Buccaneers, his grave was washed to sea.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. 33 acres of the city disappeared in less than 2 hours. 1/5 of the population was killed immediately. And then the days that followed, of course, brought all those fun things you have when you have lots of bodies laying around.
Yeah. Now I think now the Galveston story is coming back to me.
Yeah.
I'm starting to.
So 3,000 more people died within about 5 weeks.
Oh, sure.
No fresh water, just a mess.
Horrific.
And a sunken city. And online there are pictures of the city underwater. You can still see parts of it. It's kind of cool.
So what are you saying is we need to go to Port Royal?
And looting was a real problem. Apparently the people that survived, first thing they did was loot.
I bet you can go there and dive and see that.
You can. You have to get permission though. It's a World Heritage site.
We won't be going through all that.
And then to make sure that it stayed down, God sent hurricanes in 1712, 1722, 1726, 1744, and 1748.
Just when you start getting comfortable. Just when you're
Wow, that sounds like Lake Charles.
Wow. Okay. You know, the pirates, all of the myths and legends, it's still rooted in so much fact. You know, we really do know a whole lot. Generally, though, our knowledge comes from a book by Captain Charles Johnson. That's not his real name. Published in 1724, actually. And they really think that Daniel Defoe was the writer who wrote Robinson Crusoe.
Oh, yeah.
But that is where we get a lot of facts about pirates. So 1724, so you're right in the midst of it actually going on. It's not like he published this years after.
Right. And it's a very small window of time, actually.
General history of pirates.
Well, the thing is, the pirates that we all think of, the Disney-style pirates.
Well, and they keep comparing that to that love of the pirate to the love of the cowboy and the love of the gangster. And you know, just...
Because it just wasn't that long.
No, it wasn't that long.
And most of these pirates knew each other, the ones that we remember.
Yeah.
That's the amazing part.
Oh, let's tell them that now.
What?
On Netflix.
Oh, yes.
And we had already decided to do the pirate show, and we'd already been talking about it.
We were not influenced by Netflix.
We were not influenced by this show. But of course we were. We watched it, and we found it really interesting.
Even more stuff.
So the connections you were just talking about, that's what made me think of it. So on Netflix, it's called the Pirate Kingdom, the Lost Pirate Kingdom.
The Lost Pirate Kingdom.
I think it's like 5 to 8 episodes.
Yeah, something like that.
Don't watch. It's not safe for children. Don't watch it with your kids in the room, because all of a sudden you think they're just doing pirate stuff.
There wasn't any nudity though.
Was
there? Was there?
Okay, so if you're out there and you watch this and you start seeing some. No, you're going to think
boobies?
G Long was crazy. Oh, yeah, more than that.
I don't remember boobies.
Oh, it was.
I usually remember boobies.
There was everything.
Must not have been impressive boobies.
Well, they weren't Hollywood, at least.
Oh,
they were real.
Well, that helps.
And that's always because pirates wouldn't know anything about saline boobies.
Yeah, but I bet the women in the show looked better than the women back then.
I don't know. Pirates.
They had all their teeth.
Let me find my little thing about pirates, because it was really interesting about
because all the historical women that they redo in Hollywood, they always end up looking way better than they actually looked in real life.
Well, of course.
Of course. Anyway, so I guess the men too, for that matter.
I guess so. Yeah.
Anyway,
because on the pirate show, they were not like hideous.
Anyway, when Port Royal collapsed, they had to go somewhere. Where are you going to go?
Well, they needed a home base.
Well, they went to Nassau in the Bahamas.
They went to Madagascar too.
Well, that's a different breed of pirate. That's the Indian Ocean. That's the Indian Ocean.
That's
pirates.
The interesting part too, is that you had this going on all around.
Right.
And we just kind of focused in on the regional ones.
And you have to you can look at a map and you can actually see it a lot better. But there was a reason after these guys all got laid off, had
from their
no money
from their Navy jobs, and they had to support families.
basic Navy
and,
jobs.
Yeah.
They didn't want to work on merchant ships because merchant ships were god-awful.
Yeah, worse than being on a pirate
You
ship.
were much better off being a pirate.
You're gonna be far more abused on a merchant ship or on a Navy vessel.
Common punishments on merchant ships, whipping was the number one punishment.
Keel hauling.
Keel hauling for serious things, but keel hauling killed you. That was a death sentence.
Oh yeah. No matter how
They'd
they
drag
did
you
it.
across the barnacle-ridden hull of the ship.
Bottom of the ship. You're either going to drown or
You're
you're going to
dead.
be cut to ribbons
You're
and bleed
dead.
to death and bring sharks, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Okay, so we don't want to be on a
But
merchant ship.
nobody walking planks, by the way.
No, that was part of the whole fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got fantasy and reality, and they weave together a most interesting story.
But they did invent the diving board.
Ah, all right.
Again,
I didn't get it. Okay.
Lies. Oh, lies!
I believed you. It's like that game show. Bullshit.
well, it looked like a diving board.
I believed you. But they did contribute to all the economies of North America and all of the islands, right? Gold, silver, all of the things that they captured.
Piracy is what helped build the colonies. Because everybody was taking part. Rich men hired and invested in piracy.
Everybody sees a way to make some money. The women have a job.
Right.
You can open some little restaurants and bars.
And where it happened, the location between the Caribbean, the East Coast, and Africa and Europe, it's known as the triangular trade. And this was really lucrative for these guys because you had merchants in England, you had merchants on the East Coast of the colonies of North America, and then you had merchants in the Caribbean. And so you could do a triangular run and use the winds because these are all wind-driven ships, obviously. So when you leave the northeast part of the of North America, when you leave the East Coast,
just go where the wind blows.
You go to England and to Europe. From England, you take the wind, you go south, and you hit West Africa. And then when you leave West Africa, you take the wind and you come back into the Caribbean. Mm-hmm. And so you just constantly change what you're carrying.
Yeah.
So if you're a merchant,
depending
that's
on
what
your
that's
direction.
your run.
Yeah, you're sending your goods off.
So you had sugar, tobacco, rum, textiles, gold, silver, you name it, and of course, slaves, people.
Yeah.
And the triangular trade, one leg of that was almost solely slaves. The one from Africa to the Caribbean and back to the colonies, that was slaves.
Oh, yeah.
And it was merchants who invested the heaviest in that slave trade. People who became very, very wealthy.
I wonder if some of them got out of it in time, like sensed a change.
Well,
because every industry at some point has to go through changes because of society and invention and all sorts of things.
Well, when they were only preying on the Spanish and the Dutch, that was cool.
Yeah, it wasn't so big.
But when the English got powerful, rich merchants started being a little upset when their ships would get hit. And they became the primary focus after a while because the
they were the
Spanish
biggest.
were done. They had run their streak.
So now they're attacking English ships.
And that's when merchants start hiring
We won't have this.
privateers to hunt pirates who used to be privateers.
So bounty hunters.
And you think about it like in a movie script. You've got all these guys all with their own gangs, basically.
Yeah.
Robbing from each other as well as...
Well, here's the list of comparing pirates to gangsters, right? They both prosper where government authority is corrupt or absent. Main tactic for success, fear and intimidation.
Yep.
They sometimes embrace the needy in an effort to legitimize their deeds.
Well, sure.
Suspicious of strangers. They don't operate within the honesty of authority. Direct conflict with law enforcement. Yep. Difficult for them to operate when the community is hostile toward them. That's why they created their own community.
And they did, yeah. The Nassau eventually became a republic.
Yeah.
A pirate republic.
Well, you got to go somewhere when you retire. If you make it to retirement.
And it was a democratic society for the most part.
Yeah.
You couldn't just haul off and kill another pirate. If you got caught, they'd put you to death. They had a very legitimate set of rules and laws.
They were the brethren of the coast.
And they enforced it.
They had mighty enforcement, flogging and hanging, of course.
And I like the suspicious of strangers. That's all you've got. You're on a crew of strangers. Hey, you want to join us? Sure.
Well, no, but that's the whole point. Is that it's not the lifestyle for everybody.
But I'll bet pirates were, language-wise, not talking about talking like a pirate. I bet they spoke a multitude of dialects and languages.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
They were probably pretty sharp.
Probably pretty, yes.
And they would have read, not all of them, but there would have been some literacy amongst the pirates.
That's the point. And he would have read to the others.
Yes,
to pass
if
the
you
time.
could read,
Yeah.
you would have been entertainment.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
writing letters.
And
They did have letter systems.
Yep.
They
And music. Music was another big thing
yeah.
on a ship.
because you've got a lot of time where you're not doing anything, waiting for the next battle.
Or, well, waiting for the next ship to pass too close, I guess.
to come into your sights, and then the black flag goes up.
Well, they called them, for a while, though, the big names were all working together, and they called the Flying Gang.
Well, the Flying Gang.
Yes.
But there were no Flying Dutchmen.
Because there's about 5 of them that all had their own fleets.
Oh, like in the show you're talking about, Horn of Gold?
No, just in real life. The show is dead on accurate.
Yeah, part of it is true history.
And it's pretty amazing. You couldn't avoid them because of the trade winds.
Yeah.
The way the winds worked.
And you see them on the sea. It's like, God, oh, damn it.
And unlike a lot of movies, it's not ships firing at each other. The way pirates got on a big ship was they just sailed up next to it and climbed it
And
up.
threw their
Usually at night.
board over and walked across.
Yeah.
But not walking the plank.
No. But they would usually attack at night. They would use very fast ships in case they did get fired at. They could get away in a hurry. And they would just ransack the ship and just climb up and begin taking over. And, well, I mean, it worked.
Yeah.
And people feared them so much, they rarely had to actually fight to take a ship.
And that was the point, I think, that Blackbeard, when you read about Blackbeard and his cultivation of his persona,
His fear.
he was
generating fear.
he actually, advertised himself that way, so that I think it made it easier for everybody. His boarding party, once they realized it was Blackbeard, probably just was like, okay, here, take it.
I'm sure the word was out too. He's got syphilis. He's nuts.
It's just damn crazy.
He's been acting weird since his penis fell off.
It's like, where's that smoke coming from? Why is his hat on fire?
Well, speaking of fighting on a ship, that's how he got caught. He damaged a ship off the coast of North Carolina. And he actually kind of closes the age of pirates, although piracy is still with us. But the guy on the ship that he was firing at that was grounded, it had run aground. They couldn't defend themselves. And the guy on the other ship said, hey, everybody go below decks. Clear the top deck. So it looks like there's only a couple people left on the ship alive because Blackbeard had been shooting at the ship.
So he figured, yeah.
So he took a small group of men over to that ship and got on it, went down below. That's where all the men were. And then apparently it was like a 40-man sword fight.
Fish in a barrel.
In the cargo hold.
Enclosed cargo hold.
And of course, Blackbeard.
Well, those with daggers did better.
Yeah, Blackbeard was shot many times and eventually his head was cut off.
Oh, okay. Just for proof.
Yeah, they put
trophy.
They put it on the bowsprit.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so everybody could see.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, pirates were very superstitious lot.
Were they?
They really were. One of that you need a cat on a ship just for mice. That's just kind of a practical thing. But pirates, they needed a cat on board for luck. And not just them, even their families. A black cat. If you had a sailor in your family, you wanted to keep a black cat for good luck for that person.
Right. So
isn't that a little odd? They also like the polydactyl cats. That was a really good.
Explain.
Polydactyl.
Yes.
The Ernest Hemingway cats, the ones with an extra toe,
with a surplus of toes.
Yes, they have 5 toes.
They have a surplus.
They loved. They thought they were very valuable. They were extraordinary good climbers and hunters, obviously. So kept the rodents down. They could go up the sails, up the ropes.
Yep.
They considered them extremely good luck. They have a lot of pictures of Royal Navy men with their cats, too.
They also had rules about who couldn't be a pirate as well.
Good morning, students. These are the morning announcements.
Did I already play this one?
Teacher parent conferences have been rescheduled to next Tuesday. Please inform your parents. The gym is being repainted and is closed until tomorrow afternoon. And now for a special announcement.
Avast there, mateys! Do you have a thirst for adventure on the high seas of life? Are you sick and tired of your parents and teachers telling you what to do all the time? Then join Captain Cartman's perfect pirate club, Argh. Just imagine it, me hearties. A life without rules, without homework and chores. You can live the pirate's life in Somalia, me friends. Even Kyle said so. Our first official pirate meeting will be 4 p.m. today at Kevin Stoley's house.
At my house? Why my house?
There will be refreshments served. So make sure your mom goes to the grocery store, Kevin. So come one, come all. The invitation is open to any student who wants to be a pirate and who isn't Jewish, Mexican, or ginger. Arrgh!
And for lunch today, the cafeteria will be serving taco salad or hoagie sandwiches. Thank you.
So if you were ginger, Mexican, or Jewish, you couldn't be a pirate.
You couldn't be a pirate. No, wasn't allowed.
According to Captain Cartman.
Women could be pirates.
Arr.
I don't think I could work under Captain Cartman.
Oh, sure you could.
I don't think I could. No.
Oh, you could do it.
Afraid not. Afraid not. We're not.
And they didn't make exceptions generally either. They, for Jews, I'm saying. They absolutely would not do.
No.
I don't know if that's true. There had to be a Jewish pirate. There had to be at least one. Had to be.
Had to be. He probably wasn't recognized as a Jew.
There wouldn't have been a Mexican pirate because Mexico as a concept did not yet exist.
Oh, well,
and
Cartman,
gingers have been known since, the dawn of time to not have souls. So,
Are you trying to perpetuate some tragic story about people? No souls.
No, it's just history.
Where's Bella? Is she barking? I need her to bark.
Lies. Oh, lies!
I told you needed that because you.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I did.
You see, audience, there we go. Now you can identify. If Bella doesn't call him.
When that goes off, I'm lying. By the way, that's a sensor. It actually knows when I'm lying.
It's not my eyes looking across at you going, excuse me.
Oh,
I'm going to send you to Davy Jones's locker.
Yeah. Why is Davy Jones' locker at the bottom of the sea? What happened?
Well, you have to have a place to go, and that's where you go. If you don't have a cemetery, it's man is really worried about those death rituals, so you've got to have them for every setting.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
If your setting is the sea, you've got to have a place to go. And Davy Jones's locker, good as any.
Good as any.
Good as any. So if you're in the grips of Davy, you're close to death, or you're just terrified. You could just be terrified.
Terrified.
Yes. Awaken Davy. If you awaken him, you're causing a storm. So don't do that.
So the first pirates of the kind that we've been...
That wasn't even a segue. That was terrible.
No, it wasn't. People will go, he must have cut it there. No, that was just me.
That's just you being
segue.
Weird. Yeah.
I like the first pirates, the ones from this age that were called the Pirate Round.
The Pirate Round?
The group of pirates were called the Pirate Round because they would go round the Cape of Good Hope into the Indian Ocean.
Were they fancy boys?
No, they just were pirates, but they went that way. That instead of going to the New World, they went around.
So they turned left.
They're pirates round.
Okay.
Because they went round the Cape of Good Hope in Africa.
So their location, their region.
And they had a similar setup in Madagascar.
Oh, those were the ones I was talking about.
Yeah.
I read about them.
Madagascar had a port that was pretty much as bad as any pirate port you could possibly think of, except the people were all from like the Arab world, the Asian world.
So now you've got different cultures coming together to be pirates. Right. I wonder if their pirate regime and routine was as
apparently it was very similar because of
the lifestyle.
I think the lifestyle kind of
dictates that. Well, and that's what draws us as people to continue to. I mean, look what we're saying we love is pirates. Let's be pirates, but we're actually criminals.
Yeah, but it's still that Germanic idea from the tribal times when. How did a man become a warlord, a leader? Mm-hmm. Well, because he had men who would follow him, and as long as he kept the booty flowing,
and that's it. The pirate,
it's loyalty.
The captain and the quartermaster ran a ship.
Correct.
So they voted on who was the captain.
So if your whole basis for government, whatever you want to call that government, is loyalty to one man, then that one man has to be pretty good.
Yeah, because they would definitely maroon a captain they were done with. That just leave his ass on an island.
You know what the worst part of being marooned on a small desert island would be, though? My favorite thing was how they would give them one pistol, loaded, with a ball.
one bottle of either water or rum.
Or yeah.
Which do you want?
And one shot though. And
yeah.
I mean, you know good and well that half the time that shot wasn't going to work
and
because the gunpowder was wet.
And the clothes they had on their back.
Yeah.
That's it.
So you're going to burn to death and
it's
no
not
trees.
It's
not
not
like
a nice
trees.
island. No, it's not a nice
flat
tree
sandbar.
Robinson Crusoe island. No,
Yeah.
no, none of that shit.
Anyway, so the first pirates were actually mostly operating on the other side of Africa, and then gradually the whole Spanish thing just brought them into the Caribbean. I mean, you couldn't.
So they did come this way.
And one of the big draws to the Caribbean and the East Coast was when the Spanish treasure train, as they called it, and we're not talking one ship. We are talking bunches of ships. And they are full
I know
of
what
gold
train means.
They are full of gold and silver, and they crash.
Is it a storm? And
yes,
okay.
It's a storm. And that brings everybody
Damn
to that area.
Weather.
It's like the gold rush. Everybody's looking for it.
Oh, that was in the show, wasn't it?
It was.
Yes.
But it's
in history.
Yeah, it's great. It's a really fun story.
It's excellent. You really should watch the
Hey, man.
I'm sorry.
You hitting my microphone?
Whose microphone?
My microphone.
My microphone. Whose house? D Long's house.
D's house.
D Long's house. Happy birthday, D.
Oh, yes. Happy birthday to my sis.
Yes.
Get that out there now.
Sure, because otherwise we'll
forget it. She's probably not listening anyway.
Probably not, but we can say happy birthday
to her. She doesn't love
anyway.
me. She's not listening.
What would your pirate captain name be if you were a pirate captain? I tried to think about that. For both of us, actually. And the ones that they have
Long
on face.
in the booty. Argh.
Bunghole long.
No, we're not going to go there.
But that was on every Talk Like a Pirate. You've got to say bunghole.
Yeah, why is that?
Because it's funny and makes people laugh. I don't know.
Well, it does when it's, I need pee-pee for my bunghole. That you need it for that.
But that's a different definition.
Absolutely.
The pirate definition is the original. That's the one you're allowed to use. Because that bunghole is legit.
And pirates are gone for the most part, but we do have one area that's still
here in modern times.
Yeah, still drawing people to live the carefree life of a pirate.
Life.
Attention! All right, you booty lovers. So you decided to join Captain Cartman, did you? Guys, who let in the Ginger?
Well, there's really not that many of us. We figured we should let him join.
But guys, Gingers can't be pirates because they don't have souls. Please get it out of here. Fine, I don't want to be a pirate anyways. Okay, anyways. Now enough small talk, lads. It's time for us to start raping and plundering. Yeah! We set course tomorrow. I purchased everyone's ticket online using me mother's credit card.
And your mom is okay with that?
Dude, I'm a pirate. What the devil do I care what me mother thinks anymore? Neato! All right, lads. Go home and write your farewell letters to your families. The land of pirates awaits. Pirates ho! Pirates ho! Ho! Kevin, God damn it.
You left the lightsabers. Oh, my.
Yeah, but later in that episode.
Well, the lightsaber helps
The
them,
lightsaber helps them take a French ship.
Well, you'd be a great pirate if you had a lightsaber. If I had a lightsaber, I'd take every damn ship I saw.
Give me your ship. I have a lightsaber.
I want to live a pirate life. No.
I thought Jedis were supposed to be nice.
I could never be a pirate because they don't have bathtubs.
Oh, yeah.
I have to have a bath. I can be dirty for a while. I can handle that for a while, but
we just jump in the ocean.
Ultimately, no, no, it's a hostile place.
You just jump in the water.
It's a very hostile place.
They must have like. Bathed.
I don't know how they would have bathed.
Well,
whore bath.
It was like
whore bath.
Probably.
Because clean water would be.
It would have rained all the time, though. You're talking about the Caribbean? Man, storms fly through there.
All right, maybe.
But I was thinking about that. Like when you start diving into the history of the Old West, you find out that on cattle drives, a lot of the cowboys had oilskin bags, and when it started raining, they just put their clothes in the oilskin bag and they rode naked. And I wonder if that's the way it was on a pirate ship too. You know, you don't want your crap getting all wet. So as soon as it starts raining, you go, stash your stuff in your chest.
Yeah.
And just work naked.
I don't know. I didn't read that anywhere, but I wouldn't doubt it.
But
I would think that would have come up in a book.
Because you had a
maybe we can just add it to the pirate lore.
You had that female pirate that liked to fight with her boobies out.
Yeah, that's true.
What was her name? Bonnie.
Anne Bonnie.
Yeah.
And then you had the wife of the Asian pirate Ching.
She's actually the serious one.
She was. That woman ran a network. She was. Hang on.
They had a pirate army. I've got it here.
Oh, okay.
Hundreds of ship, 50,000 men.
Yes. See, she ran
operating
a business
off the coast of China. Started with her husband. When he died, she just
took over and she expanded it.
Well, and she got a new lover.
Well, you don't have to be alone just because you're a widow.
What a tramp. Anyway.
Say that again. You know, when I read her story, all I thought was Kill Bill. I thought about the scene with her.
She wrote a code of conduct for her pirates.
Yes.
Rape? No.
Nuh-uh.
No. If you raped someone, you got beheaded.
Well, see, that's what I said.
I mean, your actual head on your neck, by the way. Anyway.
What were you Oh my God, you are incorrigible today, just like the dog.
Deserters. If you deserted her group, and that's the weird thing.
Yeah, you can't quit me.
Western pirates, they could quit anytime they wanted. Not for this girl.
Not the Asians.
You're not leaving.
There's
this one.
loyalty there.
She'll cut your ears off.
Oh, okay.
And then, how would you wear your hat?
I told you, it reminded me of the Asian. What was her name in the Kill Bill?
If you're a Buccaneer and your ears get lopped off, then you have nothing under your hat.
Oh my God! Are you going to cut that out?
I don't know.
You going to leave that in? You going to keep trying for that one?
Anyway, it was the British and the Portuguese that had to go after her too, and this was in the early 1800s.
Yeah, it had been a while. From 1690s, we're moving into 100 years.
And when she was about to be caught and tried and everything else, she says, "Well, is there any way we can just settle this?" And she said, "If I can keep my stuff, I'll stop."
Oh yeah, didn't they give her that and let her? She moved on. She just went on and became legitimate again.
Ran a gambling house until she was 70.
There you go.
All right, good for her. That's a woman on the move.
Say her name again.
Wait a minute. Ching Sao.
Ching Sao. There you go. I knew I had read it.
I'm sure that's probably wrong. It's probably pronounced in some really weird way. I don't speak Cantonese. Sorry.
Well, I'm sure they bastardized it just putting it on Google.
Anne Bonny. I know how her name is pronounced.
Yes, we can do that.
You know what's weird? Blackbeard's,
Captain Kidd's wife too. She was a person with money and then married Kidd and kind of fell into ill repute for a while. She tried to get his life saved, but
that was one of the things. A female pirate could be forgiven if she was pregnant. From you couldn't be hanged in England. You could not be hanged.
No, and that was the whole point.
If you were pregnant,
yes,
and that's how Bonnie got out of being hanged.
In the Crucible, they didn't. John Proctor's wife was pregnant, so they wouldn't put her to death. They wouldn't hang her until after the baby was born. And by that point, thankfully, some courts over in Boston said, "Witch hunt? No, you people are crazy. Stop doing this." And they let her out. But her husband was dead.
And there was another one named Mary Reed, and she liked to fight with her boobies out.
Mary
too.
Reed wasn't her, and didn't her and Anne Bonny didn't they fight together?
Well, they worked. Yeah, they were both together with Calico Jack.
Oh, is it, what you're saying? There had to be a man in there.
Well, I don't know. They ended up with him. Who knows? Maybe they liked his calico.
I wonder if he had a cat. Oh, he had two.
Well, don't you? You know why they call him Calico Jack, don't you? Because he likes to wear calico. Yeah, right. Okay, it was. Well, who knew?
Bella and Otto say no, none of that, none of that.
But they all got caught together.
Did they get put to death together?
Well, she and the other one, Bonnie, both were pregnant.
Oh,
or quick with child.
Well, then Calico left behind an heir. And
Calico was hung up.
We're assuming.
And put in the gibbet. And then that's what they do with your body. They'd put it in the gibbet and hang it. So everybody
could see it because it has to be a lesson. Something has to be learned, people. We know there always has to be a lesson.
Yep.
You would be Captain Silverbeard?
Silverbeard. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, scurvy beard. No. I don't know.
Scurvy?
Yeah.
No.
They're always.
I
not,
get my vitamin C.
They're always unpleasant. Yes, you do. Absolutely.
In Nassau, when the pirates went to Nassau, they actually went, as we said earlier, they set up a republic. The cool thing was how it ended, which was basically English merchants being mad and hiring somebody to be the new governor.
Did they burn it?
No. This is how they did it. King James basically offered everybody a pardon. He said,
"Oh, if you just
blanket
go on,
blanket pardon for everybody out there who's facing any kind of piracy charges." I'm always stunned that they knew who these people were. That's how well known they were in the area. It's kind of
they crafted a reputation. They
I know, but
used that.
If you know that the punishment for what you're doing is death at the end of a rope.
Well, it was Johnny Depp's whole point. You do know me, though. Right? Captain Jack Sparrow. You have heard of me, right? They wanted to be known.
I know.
Well, it was part of the mystique.
I guess.
Be a pirate. I'd want to be the best damn pirate I can be.
But when they came to Nassau and read out the proclamation of apparently about half the
pirates
at
that point said,
okay, I'm out.
So
back into legitimate society.
Again, you're back to people who slip easily between the good and the righteous citizens and the illegal.
And the Maine people, though, did not take that. Although Benjamin Hornigold, the guy that started Nassau as a pirate haven, basically, he took it and became a pirate hunter.
Turned bounty hunter on him.
Yeah. I know.
Well, that's a traitor.
He disappeared into history, too. They don't know what happened to him.
Well, he was probably taken out and left in Davy Jones's locker.
Henry Jennings was probably the most famous pirate, I should say most famous successful pirate. And by that, I mean he built up so much wealth and money, and all of the other pirates worked for him at one point, that when the offer for a pardon came, he was like, yes,
I will take it and go live out my life. Yeah. Is he the one that had, if they translated the money into today's, he would have had like $102 billion or something?
Because he was one of the first ones to find the Spanish treasure train when it crashed. He actually located it along with Hornigold, Thatch, all the Bellamy, all the other famous pirates from history were kind of working together. So they all got to take part in this money. They all made a lot of money. Most of them just blew it.
So it was the gold rush only on the high seas.
Right. And Jennings, one of his people, became a notorious pirate, famous for like hurting people. Vane, I think.
Vane is the one that,
What a great name, right?
Again, that was my point about the show, The Lost Pirate Kingdom. Please do not let your kids, small children, be
no
around when you watch it.
Unless you want your kids to be pirates.
Okay. Well, it's age related. I mean, we let our kids watch a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't have let my small kids watch it.
No. There's certainly an age to
Plus, I want to watch it. I don't want to have to deal with kids while I'm watching the show.
And most of our listeners have young children, adorable young children.
But Hornigold and Jennings became bitter rivals eventually. But yeah, Jennings, he retired from being a pirate, took the pardon,
and went and lived a good citizen life.
He was one of 400 pirates who took advantage of the amnesty, and after serving as a privateer in the War of the Quadruple Alliance, just another one of the many wars between these European countries.
Because humans can't stop them.
I know. He retired to Bermuda and lived as a plantation owner and a wealthy member of society, and probably the most successful pirate if you're going to talk about not dying in obscurity.
and probably left something behind in the area where he lived.
Now, the one thing they absolutely don't know, is what happened to him at the end. They know he retired, he lived a long time. They don't know how he died, or even if he didn't end up in trouble. There is a belief, and it's in Spain, weirdly enough, that Jennings was eventually caught by the Spanish.
and got
brought to trial.
Got his comeuppance for all of his
died in
illicit activities.
Died in a prison in Portobello, which is in Panama.
Well, still an interesting and exciting life, because isn't that the whole point? If you're going to go off and be a pirate, you're trying for something not ordinary.
Die young and leave a good-looking corpse.
I mean, think about all the ways we do that. Hobos, you could be a hobo. You could ride the rails.
A hobo.
You can be a homeless person and choose not to really own anything.
You can.
Or you're there because of mental illness. That's a whole different area.
That's true as well. Yeah.
What?
Nothing.
No. Okay.
Okay.
I don't think I could do any of those because, again, no bathtub.
Yeah, but anyway.
No bueno. No bathtub, no bueno.
Well, that kills a lot of jobs.
There's a lot of livelihoods lifestyles I can't
Is there
adhere
a bathtub?
to.
No, not here.
Sorry. Well, I'm not playing that. Some of the worst times in my life, I've been deprived of a bathtub.
There's probably not a lot of bathtubs on the high seas except on like rich yachts and stuff, I would imagine.
Oh, now that's a lifestyle I could live. I could do that. You want to give me that? I could do that.
What was the meme the other day? This is the time of year where fat guys start getting called by the hot girls.
Fat guys who own boats?
Yeah, who ghosted them all year, and now all of a sudden spring hits, and it's like, bring, hi.
I know a guy with a boat.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah. Well, everybody, you use what you got.
Exactly right.
I do think it's interesting that we as humans like those kinds of stories, though. The ones that on the fringe, I kind of want to be a good.
They're the bikers of the sea.
We want to live a good life and we want to be good citizens, but there's a part of us that just wants to be bad.
Pirates were 1%ers.
Yes, absolutely.
But unemployment forced their hand.
Yeah, no, that when you heard that statistic, it was like, I think 14,000 all laid off at one time. Well, that's many boatloads of men.
And they weren't going back to the merchant fleets. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They just wouldn't. Most of them had served on merchant fleets.
And they couldn't have been absorbed into it anyway. Not all of them.
Well, they wouldn't do it simply because they knew what it was like.
Well, and look, it was all economic driven, right? Their contribution to society was economics. They were driven to what they did by economics, because had they stayed in the Navy and working and getting paychecks, they would have spent that money, but they wouldn't have spent it in the same way or in the same the
Royal
things.
Navy just wasn't that big then. But what kills piracy really in this region of the golden age of piracy, besides Blackbeard getting killed, which they say kind of
was he like the big toe, and once he died,
they
that
say
was
that
it.
His death is kind of the place where they cut it off, the golden age of piracy. Although piracy continued, right? Like I said, you can still go to Somalia and get yourself a boat.
If you have a lightsaber.
But what changed everything was simply the Royal Navy got big enough and powerful enough and professional enough
that they could stop
the pirates.
Yeah, they learned the tactics.
Yeah.
And they adjusted for it, and the ships changed.
And then the people with money no longer invested in the pirates. They didn't need to. They had a Royal Navy. They could hire, basically, like the East India Company had their own navy, first of all, but they could also hire the Navy to protect their ships.
Yeah.
So why pay?
They would escort them.
Why pay a pirate? Because the pirate's going to skim. No matter what your.
Well, that's the beauty of a pirate. It's the honesty of a pirate. When he tells you he's a pirate, you know what he is.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm a thief. Oh, okay. Well, now we've got that established.
Yeah. If you hire a thief, you just have to expect that the thief is going to take a little bit.
Yeah. Skim off the top.
The skim.
Again, economics.
The vig.
Economics driven.
The vig.
That's why the coast is always such a raucous place.
All righty. Well, I think we've about yacked.
Probably so.
Piracy.
Probably
enough.
so. It was certainly unorganized.
Yeah, it was unorganized. But
I know. I
fun.
apologize for all of that. I had a lot of research. That's the problem.
We had too much
one of those
research.
topics again where there's just too.
I had too much.
We didn't do anything about Jean Lafitte, even though he is our.
I've got so many tabs.
I do too. I have a lot of tabs.
I have a lot about John Lafitte.
There is a lot, but we chose not to talk about him.
But you find out very quickly that in fact, even though there's all this information about John Lafitte, it's all sketchy.
Well, that's a lot of the pirate stories, but you take what is true and you fill it in, right? That's why.
I do know that John Lafitte's, he helped found a colony on Galveston, the first colony on Galveston Island.
One of my favorite places.
That he called Galveston Island Campeche, but it stayed Galveston Island.
Yeah.
But he fought during the Mexican War of Independence against. Now here's the fun part: he became a spy for the Spanish, spying on the Mexicans who were fighting for independence from Spain.
In pirate tongue, he would be called a cat and pan. A cat and pan changes sides on parties.
Yeah, and there's nothing really known about his death.
Okay.
Lafitte, they estimate he earned many millions of dollars in today's money over his career. But like I said, they don't know where he died. They don't really know anything about his end.
He went off into obscurity.
They even don't know, according to a book that was written by William C. Davis, who also was using sketchy material. He was born in France.
Well, Jean Lafitte.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's also a belief that he was born in the French colony of Santo Domingo, Haiti. So that's the problem. They've got this situation where they don't really even know.
You mean there's somebody else named Jean Lafitte? There could be paperwork for more than one Jean Lafitte.
Well, exactly. There could be many Lafittes, actually.
Yeah.
His family, he had brothers, and they all became privateers. They got letters of marque.
They kept it in the family.
And they do know that Lafitte in 1805 was running a warehouse in New Orleans and selling the goods that were being stolen by his brother, including slaves. He had slave auctions. It's kind of weird. They know a little bit about him, and then it just kind of just. And
that's how it is for most of our pirates.
When the Haitian Revolution happened, all the French from Haiti, because they didn't want to be killed with sugarcane knives.
I could see that.
Yeah, being hacked to death.
Give me a lightsaber any day.
Being hacked to death by an angry slave is not the way to go. Anyway, they all jumped ship and headed to New Orleans. That's where they all went.
All ended up there.
And many of them became privateers.
Oh, okay.
For the city of New Orleans or the land of Louisiana, depending on how you want to look at it. Anyway, so there you go. Lafitte, they know he worked Barataria Bay and Galveston. He in and out of trouble with authorities. It's like sometimes he was on the bad side, and then sometimes he was on the good side.
Well, all of these men and women.
When the United States declared war on Britain in 1812,
he was there.
No, but he decided that the United States offered a letter of marque to all private armed vessels. New Orleans issued 6 such letters, all to men who worked for Lafitte.
What I got from a lot of the stories too is the ones that we remember are the ones that were the smartest and had the strongest personalities.
Oh yeah,
right. That their personalities got them a long way.
That's true.
And in some cases, like Vane, maybe their violence and their ruthlessness was also of note.
At one point, American authorities actually were trying to stop him, and he was captured. And along with his brother, in a smuggling operation, they paid bail and then vanished.
Because they were wily, see? Who gave him bail? What the hell? But
then he turns up under indictment in 1813. And
I saw some documents with his name on them that, they had forced him to sign some things that he had done.
Oh, he angered Governor Claiborne in Louisiana many times. It's kind of fun. What I liked, my favorite thing was Lafitte had a letter of marque from the governor of Cartagena, who was Spanish.
Cartagena.
There's no evidence that he ever visited that far south.
All you have to know is how to write. Who's going to check your source? There's no source citation.
But he would tell people that's where he was based.
Oh,
the whole time he was in Barataria Bay, using the bayous.
And his girlfriend lived in Canada.
Or the bayous. All right, we need to wrap it up.
Of course you do. Of course you do. It's your show.
You've talked enough.
I'm just here chilling and enjoying the Sunday afternoon.
You're going to get shot up tomorrow.
Yes. Steroid injections.
Oh, boy.
Woo.
Right in the spine.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that'll give me a few more good months.
That's so metal.
I'm badass and hardcore, indeed.
Gonna get an injection right above the booty.
2 of them. I gotta have
balance. Wait, you have 2 booties?
I have to have balance. Yeah, I think I kind of do have 2 booties.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway.
It's the Cajun.
So that's it. That's the Long of the Boot podcast.
Talking about the pirates.
This has been another episode of the Long of the Boot podcast, brought to you by, well, me.
G Long. Captain G Long.
And also, our fine sponsors.
Crickets.
Mom.
Okay, there you go.
Mom.
Your mom. Don't forget, people.
She sponsored me.
Mother's Day is coming up next Sunday.
It is.
May 8th. For all of you slackers.
Now, by the way, I just want to let you husbands out there know, you don't have to buy anything for your wife, okay? Just right now, understand she's your wife. She's not your mother. Get something for your mother.
We don't know their type of relationship. They might have
Men, train your children.
Some wives.
To give their moms a gift. Husbands.
Just because you got out of it, just because you got out of Valentine's Day, you got out of Mother's Day.
It's not
and
Wife's
I put
Day.
up with your
it's
shit.
Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple.
Yeah. And I've let you go with that. So
and
I
Father's
am a
Day,
saint.
you know I don't expect anything from you.
Okay.
I'm not your father.
You can continue saying those words, and yet what is going to happen on Father's Day?
I'm going to barbecue and feed everybody.
And there's going to be something. There's going to be a theme.
I'm going to work.
That's beer, bacon, something.
Wings.
Beef jerky.
Wings. I like wings.
Bye, mateys.
All right. Arrgh.
Remember, your joy is portable. Take it with you, even if you're on a ship.
Your joy is portable, people. Take it with you. Arrgh.
There once was a cat with a hungry belly. The name of the cat was Whiskers Jelly. His throat was dry and his bowl was bare. Meow, me fairy cats meow. Soon may the kittyman come with birds and mice and some tasty nums. One day when the critters come, we'll eat till our bellies are full. Well, Jelly got his boys and they gathered round. They scattered seeds from a sack they found, in hopes the seeds they spread on the ground would bring small critters a boot. Soon may the kittyman come with birds and mice and some tasty nums. One day when the critters come, we'll eat till our bellies are full. While the gang was bored and morale had dipped, till one of the seeds grew green catnip. They sniffed and they stacked and they all got ripped. They all had a meow that night. Soon may the kittyman come with birds and mice and some tasty nums. One day when the critters come, we'll eat till our bellies are full. While their heads were hung and the morn was nigh, the nip was strong and they all got high. Their bellies were shrunk and their bowls still dry. Oh, bring us some ice today. Soon may the kittyman come with birds and mice and some tasty nums. One day when the critters come, we'll eat till our bellies are full.